So here is the finished bag that I made. You can make bags, blankets, pillows, whatever you want with this fun design. If you're making a bag like I did, I didn't really go into how I made the inner lining, but I love how the inner lining looks. I made my inner lining with an alpaca, so I just sewed fabric together to form an inner lining, and then this inner lining for my bag, I only sewed around the top, and I sewed with the same colored yarn, so you can't see the stitches. And this is what the other side of the bag looks like. So I had fun with the colors, and you're going to have fun with this new stitch. You can see how I alternated between the puff stitch, the popcorn stitch, and let me find a bobble. Here's a bobble stitch up here. For this crochet project, I'm going to be showing you how I made these granny squares. So there's 3 different designs. You have the bobble design, then you have the puff stitch design, and you have the popcorn stitch. So what I did was I just kept mixing it up, whether I have a puff stitch, a bobble stitch, and a popcorn stitch, and then I also mixed up the colors. And then I'm also going to show you how I crocheted all of these squares together. So this is what it looks like on the right side, and then this is what it looks like on the wrong side. So even the wrong side looks beautiful. For mine, I'm going to make it into a bag when I'm finished, so I'll have a really pretty alpaca lining. Here's my alpaca lining for the inside, and then for the strap I have alpacas on the inside of the strap, and then on the outside I made smaller squares using just my puff stitch and different colors. So for this crochet project, you're going to need your 3.5 millimeter crochet hook, as well as a tapestry needle or darning needle, and a pair of scissors. For the yarn choice, I love this cotton yarn, some of my leftover yarn, but you can use any cotton yarn that you want to use as long as it would work well with a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook. You could go up in a size if you want to, but for mine I wanted to stick with a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook, and I chose all kinds of different colors. Now this one is a tencel style of yarn. I really like it, so if you want to try tencel, that works as well. So I'm going to use my yellow yarn. It's 100% cotton, and we're going to start with a magic circle, and we're going to start with the puff stitch granny square. So you just drape the yarn across your 4 fingers, use your thumb to stabilize, then wrap the yarn around your 2 middle fingers twice, and then hold it in place with your pinky and your thumb. Then take your crochet hook, go right under the 2 loops around the middle fingers, and then go ahead and bring up a loop. Then yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and then go through the loop for a slip knot. Now we're going to make our puff stitches in the magic circle. So go right into under those 2 loops again, bring up a loop. You have 2 loops on the hook, go ahead and yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through those 2 loops for a single crochet. Then you're going to chain 2. 1, 2, and that counts as a double crochet in the first puff stitch that we're going to make. So you can see how I'm holding my fingers. You can watch how I hold my fingers. Then you're going to yarn over, go into the magic circle, bring up a loop. You have 3 loops on the hook, go ahead and yarn over, go turn the hook upside down and go through 2 loops only. Then you have 2 loops remaining. This is going to be our starter puff stitch. So all of them aren't made the same as the starter one because we started with the chain 3. Then you're going to yarn over, go into the magic circle, bring up a loop. You have 4 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2 only. Then you have 3 loops remaining, go ahead and yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through all 3 to complete your first starter puff stitch. And what's nice is you can scoot it over too if you need to. So now we're going to be making a total of 8 puff stitches into the magic circle, but before you make the first puff stitch, I should say second, even though this is made a little bit different from the starter, go ahead and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to make our puff stitch. So you're going to yarn over, you're going to go into the magic circle, bring up a loop. You have 3 loops on the hook. Go ahead and yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through 2 only. Now you have 2 loops remaining. You're going to repeat that 2 more times. So you yarn over, go into the magic circle, bring up a loop, 4 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2. Now you have 3 loops on the hook, go ahead and yarn over, go back into the magic circle, bring up a loop. Now you have 5 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2. You have 4 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through all 4 to complete your puff stitch. Then you can scoot that puff stitch over. And we're going to make a total of 8. So you're going to chain 3. And then you're going to make another puff stitch. So I'm just going to show you in slow motion how to make the puff stitch. So now I have 3 puff stitches. I'm going to scoot it over, and then I'm going to chain 3. You can watch how I'm holding my hands too to help you maneuver through each of the puff stitches. So I'm going to work a couple more with you until you get used to how to make the puff stitches. So now I'm going to chain 3, scoot my puff stitches over. So far I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to make the 5th one, and then I'll let you make the rest of them. So we are having a total of 8 puff stitches in the magic circle. You see how I'm holding my fingers too. So go ahead, finish your puff stitches with chain 3 in between until you have a total of 8 puff stitches in the magic circle, and then come back. So now I have 8 puff stitches in the magic circle, and you can scoot them over if you need to. And then end with a chain of 3. 1, 2, 3. Then you're going to take and hold the bottom of the 8 puff stitches, and you have these 2 loops on the opposite side. You're going to pull on one of them. If it doesn't close, let go and pull on the other one. And don't worry if you don't get it completely closed, because we can close it more later. Then grab that loose yarn end and then pull on that. Then take and make a slip stitch into the top stitch of that first chain 3 that you had in the magic circle. So to make a slip stitch, you just yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and bring the yarn through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch. Then slip stitch into that chain 3 loop, and then you can chain 3 to start the next round. 1, 2, 3. But before we start the next round, just leave a little bit of loop where you left off, turn your work over, and now you're going to close the center of the magic circle. So you just take that loose yarn end and just pull on it, and you can see how it closes that magic circle very nicely. Then take your tapestry needle, put it onto your loose yarn end. You're going to go ahead and bury it, get it out of the way. Then just take and weave it through the back only, and then you can trim it. Now this is the back of the work, and we're going to start crocheting in rounds on the front. So now for the second round, you're going to make the starter puff stitch in this chain 3 loop. So we already started with the chain 3. That's the first double crochet for this next round. So just yarn over, go into the chain 3 space, bring up a loop, yarn over and go through 2 loops. Then you have 2 loops remaining. Yarn over, go into the same chain 3 space, bring up a loop, 4 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, and then yarn over and go through 3. So that's the starter puff stitch. Then you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to make a puff stitch into the same chain 3 space. So you just yarn over, go into the same chain 3 space, bring up a loop, yarn over and go through 2, 2 remaining, yarn over, go into the same chain 3 space, bring up a loop, 4 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, 3 loops remaining, yarn over, go into the same space, bring up a loop, you have 5 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, 4 loops remaining, yarn over and go through 4 to complete your puff stitch. Then you're going to chain 3 and make 3 double crochet into the next chain 3 space. So for double crochet, remember you yarn over, go into the stitch, chain 3 space, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, 2 loops remaining, yarn over and go through 2 for a double crochet. And make 1 more double crochet in the same space for a total of 3 double crochet into the same chain 3 space. Then you're going to chain 3, and now you're going to make your 2 puff stitches with the chain 3 in between into the next chain 3 space. So you're going to yarn over, go into that chain 3 space, bring up a loop, and you're going to make your puff stitch. So there's 1 puff stitch. Now I chain 3, and then I'm going to make another puff stitch into the same chain 3 space. And this is how you're going to repeat your pattern: 3 double crochet, chain 3, then 2 puff stitches with the chain 3 in between, then you're going to chain 3 and then make 3 double crochet into the next chain 3 space. And you just keep repeating this pattern all the way around back to where you started, and then come back. So this is how my work looks so far. I just finished my last 3 double crochet in the same chain 3 loop. Now I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then make a slip stitch into that first top stitch of the first chain 3 that you made. Then you're going to slip stitch into the chain 3 loop or space, and then chain 3 to move up to the next round. So now we're going to start with the starter puff stitch. So we already have the chain 3. You're going to yarn over, go into the same stitch, bring up a loop, yarn over and go through 2, then yarn over, go into the same stitch, bring up a loop, yarn over and go through 2, and then yarn over and go through 3. So there's our starter puff stitch. Then you're going to chain 3 and then make a puff stitch into the same stitch. Then you're going to chain 3. Then you're going to make 2 double crochet into the next chain 3 space. Then you're going to make 1 double crochet into the next 3 double crochet stitches from the previous round. And then 2 double crochet into the next chain 3 space. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 total double crochet across that side. Now we're going into the next chain 3 space, and you're going to make a puff stitch. So yarn over, go into that stitch, chain 3 loop, bring up a loop, make your puff stitch. Then you're going to chain 3, make another puff stitch into that same space, and then you're just going to keep repeating this pattern. Now I'm going to make my chain 3, 2 double crochet into the next chain 3 space, one double crochet into the next 3. I forgot a chain 3 space here. Don't forget your chain 3 space. I'm not going to go back to it though. I'm going to show you. I'm just going to do this. So 1 double crochet into the next 3, and there should be a chain 3 space here, so I'm going to make 2 double crochet into that space, and then chain 3. So there should have been a chain 3 space here on the previous round, but I omitted it. So what you do, if you did do that, you could either frog it back to that and correct the error, or you can just make 2 double crochet into that chain 3 space. Then I made my chain 3, and then I'm going to make my puff stitches into the next corner, or the chain 3 space. So you keep repeating this pattern all the way around back to where you started, and then come back. So now I just finished my last row, and you can see that you can't see that mistake that I made. That's why if you did forget one of your chain 3 loops, you could either frog back, meaning that you go back, undo all your work, and go back and correct the mistake, or you can just make the 2 double crochet into that chain 3 space that you forgot, so you can't really even see where I made the error. Then I made my last chain 3, and then you just make a slip stitch into that top stitch of the first chain 3 that you made. Just yarn over and pull the yarn through both loops. Then you're going to slip stitch into that chain 3 space to start the last round. So now we have our last round that we're going to make. So you chain 3, and then you're going to make your starter puff stitch. Then you're going to chain 3 again. Don't forget your chain 3s in between everything. Then make your puff stitch. Chain 3, and now in the next chain 3 loop you're going to make 2 double crochet, Then you're going to make 1 double crochet into each of the double crochet stitches from the previous round. There were 7 of them. Then make 2 double crochet in the chain 3 space. So I did it again where I didn't make the chain 3 from the previous round. I'm not sure why I've done that twice now, but as you know, you can just go ahead and make your 2 double crochet into that space and then chain 3. So don't forget your chain 3s. 1, 2, 3. Then make your 2 puff stitches into the next. And there's a chain 3 in between. So I'm going to chain 3 and then make my next puff stitch. Then you can chain 3 again. And then make 2 double crochet in the next chain 3 space, and then 1 double crochet into each of the double crochet stitches from the previous round. And then you just keep repeating this pattern all the way around. I'm just going to work this with you since I forgot the chain 3 loop from the previous round. So here you can see I have my chain 3 space. I'm going to make 2 double crochet into that chain 3 space. So I have a total of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Then I'm going to chain 3. Don't forget your chain 3s like I did. 1, 2, 3. Then you're going to make your puff stitch with the chain 3 in between. Oops. Do that again. Then chain 3 and make another puff stitch. And you're going to repeat this pattern all the way around, back to where you started. Don't forget your chain 3s in between everything. And then come back. So you can see the beautiful X that's created, and this is a puff stitch X, and you can see how I made the center in between. So there was 3 double crochet, then there was 7, and then there's 11. Then I finished the round with a chain 3. Don't forget your chain 3s. As you can see, you can't tell that I forgot my chain 3s, but just remember that you make chain 3 after everything. Then just make a slip stitch into the top stitch of that first chain 3 that you made. Yarn over and bring the yarn through both loops for a slip stitch. Then you can go ahead and finish off. Just yarn over and just pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. So now you know how, this is the right side, turn it over to the wrong side. So the wrong side has more of a shimmery, wavy look than the right side. And the right side you can see your glorious puff stitches in an X format. So then just take and get your tapestry needle, and I have the wrong side facing up, and I'm just going to weave the loose yarn in through the wrong side of my work and bury it. Then once it's buried, I can take and trim it. And that's how you make your puff stitch X squares, granny squares. So next I'm going to show you how to make the popcorn stitch X. So now go ahead and get the yarn that you want to make for the popcorn stitch X, and we're going to start with the magic circle again. So now you know you just wrap the yarn around your 2 middle fingers twice. Hold the yarn with your pinky and your thumb, just like this. Then take and bring up a loop, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through that loop for your slip knot. Then you're going to go into the magic circle, bring up a loop, and then yarn over and go through both loops on the hook. Then you're going to chain 2. 1, 2. And that counts as your first double crochet in the magic circle. You're going to make 3 more double crochet into the magic circle for your starter popcorn stitch. There's my second double crochet. Third double crochet. And my fourth double crochet. So now you just leave a large loop after that fourth double crochet, go into the top stitch of your first double crochet that you made in the magic circle. Go ahead and grab that loop with your crochet hook, and then you're going to bring the loop through the loop on the hook for a slip stitch. And now you have a popcorn stitch. Then you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to make another popcorn stitch. I'm just going to go in closer so you can see. Go ahead and yarn over, go into the magic circle, bring up a loop, make a double crochet. Now we need 3 more double crochet into the magic circle. For a total of 4. Then leave a little bit of a loop, go into that first double crochet that you made, top stitch, grab the loop, and pull the loop through the loop or the stitch on your hook for a slip stitch. Then you can chain 3. You just finished your popcorn stitch, chain 3. And then you just keep repeating the popcorn stitches until you have a total of 8 popcorn stitches with a chain 3 in between. And you can scoot your popcorn stitches over too on the magic circle. And as you can see, you can bring your fingers out if you need to work as well. You can watch how I hold my hand. So I'm going to make a couple popcorn stitches with you. So remember, you start with 4 double crochet. And then I leave a loop, go into that first double crochet that I made, go into the loop, bring the loop around the crochet hook, and then bring the loop through that first stitch that you went into to complete a popcorn. Chain 3, and then repeat. You need a total of 8 popcorn stitches in the magic circle, and you can scoot them over if you need to. So I'm going to make another popcorn, and then I'll let you finish. And remember, we need a total of 8 with a chain 3 in between each popcorn stitch. So 4 double crochet together, leave a loop, go into that top stitch of the first double crochet that you made, grab the loop, bring the loop around the crochet hook, and then bring it right through that first top stitch. Then chain 3 and repeat. So go ahead, keep repeating until you have a total of 8. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with the chain 3 in between each. So now I just finished my last chain 3 and I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 popcorn stitches in the magic circle. So now I'm going to hold the bottom of the stitches just like this. And then I have these 2 loops on the opposite side. I'm going to pull on one of them. If it doesn't close, let go and pull on the other one, but this one's closing. So just close it as much as you can, but don't worry if you still have a hole in the center. Then let go and pull on that loose yarn end. And then try to close it as much as you can. But like I said, you may not get it completely closed at this time. Then just take and you're going to make after you make your chain 3, you're going to make a slip stitch into the top stitch of that first popcorn. I'm going right behind where I made the first chain 1. And then yarn over and pull the yarn through both loops for a slip stitch. Then you're going to slip stitch into the chain 3 space. And then chain 3 to start your first round. Actually your second round. Then go ahead and leave a little bit of a loop there and then turn your work over. You're going to pull on that loose yarn end and kind of grab the rest of the work to hold on to it and then just pull. And then you see how it closes up the center. And then you can kind of open it up a little bit. Then it closes the center nicely. Then just take and bury your loose yarn end. And then trim it. Now you're ready for your next round. And you see how you have a really pretty, looks like little hearts with the popcorn stitch. This is what it looks like from the side. And then this is what it looks like on the back. So now we're going to make our starter popcorn stitch in the chain 3 space. So I made my chain 3, then I'm going to make my 3 more double crochet for a total of 4. Then you chain 3 and then repeat another popcorn stitch, so 4 double crochet in the same chain 3 space. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then I'm going to make my popcorn. Then chain 3. And then you're going to make 3 double crochet into the next chain 3 space. Then I'm going to chain 3 again. And then make your popcorn, chain 3 popcorn stitch into the next chain 3 space. And you just keep repeating this pattern all the way around. I'm going to make the 2 popcorn stitches with you. Chain 3, another popcorn, Then after your chain 3, you're going to make 3 double crochet into the next chain 3 space. So go ahead, keep repeating this pattern all the way around, and then come back. So remember, you make a chain 3 double crochet, chain 3, popcorn, chain 3, popcorn, chain 3, 3 double crochet, chain 3, and then repeat all the way around. So now you can see my beautiful popcorn stitches. They look like hearts. And then I have three double crochet in between the popcorn stitches. You have the 4 corners for the X, and then in between those corners are the double crochet. Then I just finished the last 3 double crochet and then chain 3, and then you're just going to slip stitch into the top stitch of where you started, and then make sure you slip stitch into the chain 3 space, then chain 3 to start the next round. So for the next round, you're going to make your popcorn stitch. So I have a chain 3. I'm going to make 3 double crochet for the starter popcorn. Then chain 3, and then you're going to make a popcorn stitch in the same chain 3 space. Oops. So 4 double crochet. Then take and loop. Finish the popcorn, chain 3. So you finish the popcorn stitch with chain 3, then popcorn stitch, chain 3. Then you're going to make 2 double crochet into the next chain 3 space. 1 double crochet into each of the double crochet from the previous round. So there were 3 of them. And then 2 double crochet into the next chain 3 space. So I have a total of 7. Then you can chain 3 again, and then make your popcorn stitch, chain 3 popcorn stitch. And you're going to repeat this pattern all the way around, back to where you started, and then come back. So now this is how my work looks, and you can see the X taking shape with the popcorn stitches, and in between I have my double crochets, stitches. Then I finished my chain 3, and I'm going to make a slip stitch to join the round. And then you want to slip stitch into the chain 3 space, and then chain 3 for our last round. And then for the last round, you're going to start with the beginner popcorn stitch. So if you already have 1 double crochet, the chain 3 counts as the first. You're going to make 3 more double crochet. Then finish your popcorn stitch, chain 3, and then make another popcorn stitch in the same chain 3 space, so 4 double crochet. Then take and make your popcorn stitch, then chain 3, and then make 2 double crochet into the next chain 3 space, and then 1 double crochet into each of the double crochet from the previous round. Then make 2 double crochet into the chain 3 space. then chain 3, and then make your popcorn stitch into the chain 3 space. So 4 double crochet, then chain 3, and repeat. So go ahead, make your other popcorn stitch, and then make your double crochets, and then remember to make the chain 3 in between each, and then come back. So this is how mine looks after I'm finished. You can see the beautiful popcorn stitches forming an X, and then you have your double crochets in between. It starts with a 3, then you have 7, and then you have 11. Then chain 3 to end and slip stitch into that top stitch of that first popcorn stitch, the beginner popcorn stitch. Then slip stitch into, actually you're done, so you're not making, if you wanted to increase, you can make this X as large as you want. You just keep increasing the size. So you can see how you grow in between by adding 2 double crochet on each end. So you would repeat that for each subsequent round that you want and make your X as large as you want to. So now I'm just going to finish off. Just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. So this is the right side, and then here is the wrong side. So on the wrong side, I'm going to take and bury my loose yarn end with my tapestry needle. So I kind of just weave it through. And then as soon as I finish burying it, I'm going to go ahead and trim the loose yarn end. And now you have your beautiful popcorn X. Popcorn stitch X. So now I'm going to show you how to make the bobble stitch X. And we're going to start with the magic circle. Use your thumb to stabilize the yarn while you wrap the yarn around your 2 middle fingers. And then hold it in place with your pinky and your thumb. Then take your crochet hook, go under those 2 loops, bring up a loop, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through that loop for a slip knot. Then you're going to go back under the 2 loops, bring up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through both loops. Then you're going to chain 2. So now for this first one that we're going to make, the first bobble stitch, you're going to start with the beginner bobble stitch. So this first, I'll call it a chain 3, is a first double crochet into the magic circle. So you're going to yarn over, you're going to go into the magic circle, you're going to bring up a loop, you're going to bring the loop up level with the first chain 3 that we made. Then you're going to yarn over, go into the loop, and bring up another loop up to the level of the first chain 3. Then take your middle finger and your thumb and pull down on that first chain 3. Then yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through all loops on the hook to complete your first bobble stitch. Then chain 3. And now we're going to make a bobble stitch. So I'm going to show you how to make that. You're going to yarn over, you're going to go into the magic circle, bring up a loop, and bring it up level with the hook, or your first chain 3. The chain 3, bring up a level loop, so you can see the loop is level with the hook. Then yarn over, go into the magic circle, bring up a loop, and again you want it level. That's your second. We're going to repeat this one more time. Yarn over, go into the loop, bring up a loop, and now bring it level with the hook. You can pull down on that first chain 3, and then yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and bring the yarn through all loops on the hook. Then chain 3 to complete a bobble. So you can see the cute bubble stitch that you're creating. And then you can scoot it over on the magic circle too. And we need 8 of them, so I'm going to make a couple more with you. I make 3 loops for the bobble. Then you want to pull down on the first chain 3 that you made, because then it's easier to bring the yarn through all the loops on the hook. Then chain 3 and repeat. There's my second. Here's my third. Pull down on the chain 3, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through all loops. Chain 3 and repeat. I'm going to make one more with you so you get used to it. So far I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I need a total of 8. And you can scoot them over. It's my second loop and my third loop. Pull down on that first chain 3. And then chain 3. I'll make one more with you. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bobble stitches. I need 8. So go ahead, finish 8 bobble stitches and then come back. So now I have 8 total bobble stitches. I'm going to chain 3. Then I'm going to scoot over the bobble stitches, hold the base of the bobble stitches. You have those 2 loops on the opposite side. Take and pull on one. If it doesn't close, then you let go and pull on the other one. Then take and pull on the loose yarn end. Just pull as much as you can. Don't worry if you don't get the center of the circle closed all the way. Then take and make a slip stitch into the top stitch of that first bobble stitch that you made. And then chain 3 slip stitch into the chain 3 loop. Then you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3 to start your next round. But before we do that, we can take and finish closing the center of the magic circle. Turn the work over, take that loose yarn end and then pull on that. Look how nicely it closes that up. Then take your tapestry needle and you're going to weave the loose yarn end through the center to bury the loose yarn end. And then trim it. Then we're ready to start our next round. Look at that beautiful flower with no center. That's why I like the magic circle. So now we're going to make our beginner bobble stitch. So you have a chain 3 to start. Yarn over, go into the loop and pull up a loop level with the crochet hook. Make one more. Remember, the beginner already has a chain 3, so that's already the third one. Then pull down on that first chain 3, yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and bring the yarn through all the loops on the hook for a bobble stitch. Then chain 3, and then we're going to make our next bobble stitch into the same chain 3 loop. So yarn over, go into the same chain 3 loop, bring up a loop level with the hook. Yarn over, go into the same chain 3 loop, bring up a loop, level with the hook, and one more, so 3 of them. Level with the hook, then pull down on that first chain 3, then yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through all loops on the hook. Then chain 3 again, and then you're going to make 3 double crochet into the next chain 3 space. And then you're going to chain 3 again. And and then we're going to make a bobble stitch into the next chain 3 loop. Bring up a loop level with the hook 3 times. Here's my second and my third. Now go ahead and pull down on that first chain 3 loop that you made. Chain 3 I mean. Then yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and bring the yarn through all 3. You'll notice that if you don't pull down on that first chain 3, it's going to be very difficult to bring the yarn through all the loops. So you can see how easy it makes it when you work it that way. Then chain 3 again. And then you're going to make another bobble stitch into the same chain 3 space. Bring up a loop level with the hook. Here's my second and my third. Then take and pull down on that first chain 3 loop, yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through all the loops. Then chain 3 and repeat. So you can see how you have your bobble stitch, chain 3, bobble stitch, chain 3, 3 double crochet, chain 3, bobble stitch, chain 3, bobble stitch. You're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to where you started. So this is how my work looks so far. Now I'm going to make a slip stitch after my chain 3 into that top stitch of the first bobble that you made, and then slip stitch into the chain 3 space, and then chain 3 to move up to the next round. And you can see how you're starting to get your bobble stitches into an X format. So now for this next row, we're going to start with the starter bobble stitch. So only 2 for the starter. Chain 3. And then make a bobble stitch into the same chain 3 space. Remember, it's 3 loops for the bobble stitch. Pull down on that first chain 3, yarn over, chain 3. Then you're going to make 2 double crochet into the next chain 3 space. 1 double crochet into each of the 3 double crochet from the previous round. Two double crochet into the next chain 3 space. Then you're going to chain 3, and then you're going to make a bobble stitch into the next chain 3 space. Chain 3, make another bobble stitch, 3 loops, pull down on that first chain 3, yarn over and go through all loops, chain 3, and repeat. So go ahead, repeat that pattern all the way around back to where you started. So now you can see the beautiful bobble stitch forming an X, and then you have your double crochet in between. So now I'm going to finish my chain 3, slip stitch into that top stitch of the first bobble stitch that I made, and then slip stitch into the chain 3 space. Then I'm going to chain 3 and make my starter bobble stitch, so only 2 loops. Pull down on that first chain 3, chain 3, and then make a bobble stitch into the same chain 3 space. Now you need 3 loops. There's 1, 2, 3. Pull down on that first chain 3, yarn over, and then bring the yarn through all the loops. Chain 3, and then 2 double crochet into the chain 3 space. 1 double crochet into each of the double crochet from the previous round. Then 2 double crochet into the chain 3 space. Then chain 3, and then bobble stitch into the next chain 3 space. So remember, you need 3 loops. Pull down on that first chain 3, yarn over, go through all loops, chain 3, another bobble stitch, 1, 2, 3, pull down on that first chain 3, yarn over, go through all loops, chain 3, and then repeat. So go ahead, finish repeating this pattern all the way around, and then come back. So this is what mine looks like after I finished. So you can see the puff stitch, not puff stitch, bobble stitch X, and then you have the double crochet in between. And then when you're finished, you make a slip stitch into the top stitch of that first bobble stitch, and then you finish off. Just yarn over and then pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. So you can see how you can continue on and make the X as large as you want. You just keep repeating the 2 double crochet into the chain 3 spaces on either side on each round, and then that increases it for each subsequent round. Then I'm just going to bury my loose yarn end on the back. Kind of weave it through. And then you can trim it. So now you can make as many squares as you want. This is the bobble stitch X. This is the popcorn stitch X. The puff stitch X. And then I made one more of the puff stitch X. So you can make as many as you want. I'm going to show you how I crocheted them together. So I'm taking my 2, I'm going to try and make 2 together that have different stitches. So I have popcorn stitch here at popcorn stitch X and the puff stitch X. Then the right sides are facing up. Go ahead and fold the work over on itself so that the right sides are together. And then you want to choose the same color, one color. You can choose either the blue or the same color orange. I'm using the orange color. And then you want to line up, and I'm going to go ahead and place a safety pin. You can use a stitch marker or a safety pin to kind of hold the corners together, the chain 3 loops. And then I'm going to start on the opposite side and the chain 3 loops on the end. I'm going to go ahead and take my crochet hook, go into those chain 3 loops, and then bring up a loop with my orange color, and then chain 1, and then go ahead and tie a knot. Then you're just going to go into the same space, chain 3 space, go behind the loose yarn end, bring up a loop, and make a single crochet. And then you're going to go into the bobble or the stitch, the next stitch. Grab both of the same stitch on the other square, go behind the loose yarn end, bring up a loop, and then make a single crochet. Then you're going to go into the chain 3 space of both squares and make 2 single crochet in that space. Then you're just going to make a single crochet into the next space of both squares, the double crochet stitch. And then you just make a single crochet in every stitch across until you reach your stitch marker. So go ahead, finish crocheting the 2 squares together using a single crochet stitch, and then come back. So now I reached the stitch with the stitch marker. I'm going to go ahead and remove the stitch marker, and then I'm going to make a single crochet into the next stitch, and then single crochet, 2 single crochet stitches into the chain 3 space. Then you can go ahead and finish off, just yarn over and just pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. And then this is what it looks like on the right side, and then this is what it looks like on the wrong side. So the ridge is on the wrong side. Then take your tapestry needle and bury your loose yarn end on the wrong side. Just weave it through your work. And that's how you crochet the squares together. Go ahead and crochet the squares together the way you want to. Crocheting mine 4 across. So this is what mine looks like after I have the 4 across, and this is the right side facing up. So now I'm going to sew it to the other portion that I've already put together. So what you do is you just take and fold the right side so that they're together, if you want to combine the squares and crochet it together like I did. And then what I did was I just put a safety pin into the corner stitch to hold it. And then you can crochet from the end. And then just move the safety pin down as you go. So now I'm going to start in this corner, and I'm using one color to single crochet across the whole stretch. And so I'm just choosing a beige color to do that. You can use whatever color that you want. Then just take and join it just like you did before. Chain 1. And then tie a knot. And then you just single crochet just like you did before. So you just go into the same space, bring up a loop and make a single crochet, and then you just make a single crochet across, and I bury my loose yarn in as I go. And then you crochet all the way across to the the stitch marker or the safety pin. Then when you reach the safety pin or the stitch marker, you just move it down to the next block. And then you just continue making your single crochet stitches. All the way across. So go ahead, finish making your single crochet stitches all the way across, and then come back. Now you can see that I made a single crochet stitch all the way across and everything lined up perfectly. Then when I finish my last couple stitches, I just finish off. And then just bury the loose yarn end into your work. So this is what it looks like on the right side. And then this is what it looks like on the wrong side. The ridge is on the wrong side. So now you want to fold your work in half so that the right sides are together. And then you want to join the sides, both sides of the bag, if you're making the bag. And then you just take and make a single crochet up each side of the bag, just like you did for joining. So now I have both sides crocheted together. So I have the top opening is the only part open. I have the bottom stitched together as well. Now you can place your inner lining. You can turn this inside out and place your inner lining inside. For the strap on mine, I placed the squares on top. And these squares went only up to the double crochet with 7. If you like the way that I did mine, I put the straps first, so the straps down first to the inner lining as well as the other side. Then I took the same color as the squares and then sewed the inner lining in place with my yarn. So you can see some of the stitches, but a lot of the stitches you can't even see. So, and even if you did, they're just colorful stitches that you made with your yarn, just securing the outer side to the inner side with the inner lining. And it came out really nice. I love this technique. So you don't have to have the inner lining, but if you want the inner lining, that's how I did it. And then I didn't even stitch the inside of the lining. All I needed to do was the outer rim for the inner lining. You can put all these squares together to form a bag like I did, or you can just make any kind of design, a blanket, a pillow. You can have a lot of fun with this design.